Well, it appears the more policies the government in Nigeria implemented, the more the attendant challenges to erode the benefits. And some graduates across the country are expressing frustration over the delayed disbursement of student loans by the Nigerian Education Loan Fund, which is NELFUND. Well, the former students claimed that the loans were applied for before their graduation, but disbursement was delayed until after they completed their studies. Well, some have also raised concerns alleging they received the 20,000 naira monthly stipend despite no longer being students. And these allegations have prompted an investigation into the entire loan process with calls for greater transparency and accountability. BKO, you know, what first started as a well-intentioned idea, it seems to be fraught with allegations of fraud. But what do you make of this? Did you see this coming?
No, but I'm not entirely shocked because this is Nigeria and things happen that make us really unhappy. This is a very good idea that is meant to ensure that no students is left behind, no students left behind in accessing education, especially at tertiary level. Many students in the past had to drop out of school because their parents couldn't fund their education, especially even students in technical colleges and all. So the idea of a student loan is a very good one, and I commend the immediate, past Speaker of the House of Reps, Right Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, who spearheaded the idea of the bill. Without student loan, a lot of people who are big people in Nigeria would not have succeeded in passing through the 4 walls of a university. I remember the famous lawyer Wumolo telling me that we had to depend on student loan to get by at that school. But these are early days. There are teething problems. Universities have been accused of frustrating access to these loans. And you can imagine somebody applied for the loan in his final year. It was not released to him until he had left school, until he had graduated. So what NELFUND is saying is that it's your school that you should actually hold responsible. Or whichever way we look at it, there are still success stories to tell. More than 516,000 students have applied for the loan. More than 378,000 students have actually received the money. Some had difficulties, maybe poor data access and all that, they dropped out. Some simply tried to test the system, you know, without real intention of actually
getting any money at the end of the day.
Yes, they just wanted to test the system. So, and I think also that the enlightenment is not enough. In the South and the Southeast especially, there is very low
awareness about the
scheme and in terms of participation. Is very low. So which they need to do a lot more enlightenment. This is meant for students across the length and breadth of our country. It shouldn't be students from northern Nigeria alone that will be showing interest. It should be indigenous students are all over the place. They're in all the geopolitical zones. So as we've had students from Borno State, for example, enrolling on a very big scale on NELFUND. Let's have students from southeast, the south, because they've complained that it is
marginalized or favoring a state.
Not enough students have actually shown interest in that area. So we want to see more of them coming, but there is a need to make it a lot more digitized, make the system very transparent, make the platform so easy for students to be able to access without the difficulties that they are talking about now. Delay in accessing the loans can be really frustrating. What is the point in having me have access to the loan when I've left school? That's not the idea. That's not the idea. So I think as we go on, I want to see NELFUND introduce innovations that would make this a lot more accessible to the students that these things are meant for. Whether they are university students, or monotechnic students, polytechnic students, or the institutes, they have to be able to access it. Otherwise, it is pointless. Right. All the universities that are making life difficult for students, they should be identified, and examples must be made of the officials of those universities, because this is real. Well, money comes in, they do not give information to the beneficiary on time. Even the NELFUND boss complain about that. What is the point in holding back information about the loan to the beneficiary? What do you stand to gain? And trying to extort money from students before they can access this defeats the purpose. We are a very corrupt country. I don't know why we are like this. This is how government policies, well-intentioned policies fail. And the complaints are becoming too much about this NELFUND. When did we start? That we are now having a harvest of complaints. I mean, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I agree with you, BK, on this in terms of, innovation, looking at how best to ensure that students have access to these loans. But then again, Kayode, when we look at the issue of transparency, which is the bone of contention here, because the students are not too sure if these monies will be released to them, and there are also complaints about irregularities and all. But even the managing director, Mr. Sawyer, has even said or dismissed the allegations altogether, saying no money has been stolen, but they are going to look for the money, however it is. But what can be done to ensure transparency so that students are assured that these monies are on their way, even though it will be delayed, but they will still get the monies and none has been stolen or will be stolen?
I think this is a follow-up to some of the outcry we raised on this platform last week, when we understand that about 100 billion naira were disbursed according to the record, and ICPC found out that just about 28 billion could be accounted for. And NELFUND has given us a hint that what is left is break it down. Let us know what happened. And one of the shortcomings is what this ex-student, someone who had graduated, receiving stipend of 20,000 naira, and also found out that he's been paid. And this is just a microcosm of many of people like that who probably got these funds late. So while we are being careful not to say that all these universities involved did it deliberately, but one thing is clear, they are too slow. This is very sharp generation. You need to take it to them. This information needs to be meeting them head on. Like BKO said, the sensitization has to be stronger. They need to invest more in the social media, also in different platforms, rub it on their face, let us know the process. Let those who are saying, it's a trap, they will collect interest, let them be overeducated. Some people cannot bear with the level of ignorance, but then let us take it in our stride to continue to inform them about the process. Then it is important that this kind of situation should not happen. when someone is applying for a loan, there must be we should know the maximum months that money will be accessed. You shouldn't get to a student who has graduated, who has sorted himself with alternatives, you understand, to finish his studies, and you are still taking the loan he didn't want again. Do you understand what I'm saying? So, irrespective of, we can cry foul now. We can do everything possible because we don't want it to be like what we have experienced in the past. Let the remaining amount be accounted for naira and kobo, because this is about the interest of Nigerians. This is not even political. This has nothing, like BKO mentioned. It was the former speaker who raised this bill, and now it is now benefiting everyone. Good kudos to the fact that this government took it very serious, and we are now having students getting these loans. There is no bigger investment than education.
Absolutely.
So we must take it seriously and let those 72% of those funds be accounted for. And not just that, this money should continue into the pool. You know, EFCC, that's the interesting part for me. EFCC is funding it. A lot of people are funding is money that have been stolen by corrupt officials are being pumped into this. Yes. And we must do everything possible to avoid being relooted. So, exactly. That's the word. That's the word indeed.
Final thoughts on this, BK, before we move to our next issue discussion.
The goal is the access to the loan to be fair,
that's true,
to be equitable, to be transparent. I also want to see a situation in which students can apply for these loans directly through their school portal, rather than going through NELFUND, because it makes it easier, and it's a lot easier for them to interface with the people concerned in their school than interfacing with NELFUND.
Directly.
So through their school portal, they should be able to access it. I think if they can find a way to come up with a system that permits the students to be able to apply directly via their school portal, I think a lot of these problems will simply disappear. We want these people, the barriers to the education of our children to be removed. If not for Awolowo's free education,
that's true,
many old people today from the southwest would not have gone to school.
Including me, because
they didn't have money. If not for Awolowo's free education, they would not have gone to school. You know?
So we must ensure that this program is successful.
It has to be successful. It's a good idea. I'm happy to report that more than 376,000 students have already received the money. So it's a good achievement. It's one of the achievements that President Tinubu can point to. Yes, those who say he has not achieved anything, well, the learning people will say, no. So I don't want to say more than that. You see a laudable program like this, and people are giving testimonies that they've received, and you say there's no achievement. Oh, okay.
We'll wait and see.